We're going to take a look at classifying a function as linear or not linear. And I have two examples for you here. A linear function, we've been working with stuff like this for a while, and a nonlinear function, which simply means curvy. In this case, it's a parabola, and you may have worked with these. We'll work with these more later. And if you can graph them, then that's pretty darn easy. Your eyeballs tell you whether or not it's linear or curvy. But sometimes you don't have a graph, or it's going to be too much trouble to graph. And so we're going to take a look at what else you can do. You can always take the time to turn this linear function into a table, a t-chart, and even this nonlinear function into a table or a t-chart. Well, to find out if something is linear or not linear, what you really want to do is see if the slope is changing. So when we talked about slope of lines, we always said no matter what points you pick on that line, your slope is going to be the same. As you go along, this slope remains constant. But as you go along this curvy graph, your slope is always changing. My slope is very negative right here, and then as I go along, it's changing, and eventually I'm getting positive slopes. Nonlinear functions have changing slopes. Linear functions have constant slopes. So what I would like to do is say, hey, what's my slope? Hey, what's my slope? And keep looking at different intervals and seeing if your slope changes. Same thing over here. What's my slope? What's my slope? What's my slope? And by doing that, you're going to find out if this function is linear or not. And I've done that for you. I've taken these two tables, which are from this linear function and this nonlinear function, and I've computed the slope for each of those intervals. Now, this looks pretty messy, but if you take a look, over between these 2 points, my slope is 1/2. Between the next 2 points, my slope is 1/2, and my slope is 1/2. I have a linear function. In this case, between these first 2 points, my slope was -4, and as I kept computing my slope, and you can pause this and look at those calculations if you'd like, my slope is changing. If my slope is changing, this is a non-linear function. So it's going to be pretty easy to figure out if your function is linear or non-linear. You just look at the slopes and find out if it's changing or not.